Alright guys, Sunday morning, just enjoying my coffee. I was, I've already deleted another video before this because I thought there's too much negative stuff going on at the minute. Not with me personally, just generally, because obviously they're trying to drum home this financial crisis and the Ukraine war, and oh my god, where's the positive news? And it's the same as I was watching some of the TikTok stuff, because I do get sent some short TikTok videos and some speech extractions, which are good. But then I see some of the other bits that once you're in the feed, you start seeing like these silly dances and things. And I don't know what some of this stuff's about. I just don't get it. Is it they're trying to get people to have short-term attention spans? I don't get it. But it is a useful tool for sort of getting some positive extracts for quotes or bits out people's speeches. But I do think there's a lot of stuff out there that is very, very low value as well. It's like these, get it, the dance step stuff. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there getting fit, by doing the dance steps. Just don't understand why they're in my news feed, because I don't have the space for dance steps, and it's just not my thing. But I was thinking, what can we do positive today? Because obviously I've deleted the other video because it was just like you start going down the route of explaining why X, Y, Z, and you're like, well, do we really even need to get into this stuff? 'Cause at the end of the day, we're not going to change it. Let's just focus on what we can focus on. So I think I'll focus on today, what am I doing this year? Let's keep it short and, well, keep it simple. I don't know, it'll be short. I don't know if I've posted on the channel yet my new office. My office is complete now. And for me, it's now an opportunity where I'm starting to think, what's the next step here? There's a lot changing around us, so I need to start thinking, where can I generate more revenue? Because I need another income, ideally with some remote streams, rather than putting a lot of time into it, in the sense of, don't mind putting some initial time in there, but don't want to be managing it on a constant basis. So the point being is, I need to think out of the box now. So I'm starting to think of, where do I go from here? I need to get this little guy down here, because my whiteboard, and start planting some seeds of ideas. Now, the reason I'm sort of bringing this up today is it's a bit like, well, a lot of stuff I do, I'll talk about it, then I start doing it. And the reason I do that is I'm not always successful. I'll take that, At the end of the day, if it was always that easy and straightforward, everybody would do it. The reality is when it goes wrong, it's the ability to shrug, get knocked down, shrug it off, and get back up, and then go, right, that didn't work. Then there's two options: move to something else, or how do I restructure it? There's always going to be something to say, right, this is work, this will or won't work at some point. But the hardest bit is getting things started. Once they're started, you start rolling with it and you see where it goes. It's a bit like when we did the restaurant thing in Spain. That was a good testing piece for me, because firstly, I recognised that a lot of the places out there will struggle to be viable because they're too small. Because what you've got is an influx of people coming and going. So, for example, if you did Sunday roasts, for example, you need to be able to do X. If you've only got 10 tables or whatever, you're going to struggle, unless you can do a massive amount of takeaway stuff, which at the same time, with Sunday roast, is that really going to work? I don't think so. So the point being is, a lot of stuff seasonal, so you've got to get as many customers as possible in the season, but also you find that people come and go at certain times of the day, and you need to maximize that, and the only way you can maximize it is by having more floor space. Floor space is expensive, a lot of the rents are inflated, so for me, and on top of that, it just took too much of my own time. So I initially didn't go in expecting to spend as much time on that project as I did, because I think I originally went in to help with something, and it just ended up rolling. But the point being is, could it be viable? The answer is yes, but you'd really struggle in the winter. Was it worth the amount of effort to put it in? No, nowhere near. My work on spreadsheets pays way more, and has less health impacts. That's why bars and restaurants are often a bad opportunity. Now, don't get me wrong, if I was obsessed with cooking and stuff, then I might do it, but I'd need something that could probably accommodate 400 people in the right location, which, yeah, if it's good, it's probably already there, in the sense of its location's right, food's right, ambience is right, it's probably already there. So that is a learning thing. You try it, you do it, you see what works, what won't work. I do think there's opportunities still there, because obviously with the current climate, I think the market's moved a little bit. So whether it'd be better to have more of a takeaway setup may work, but food stuff, not really into. I like cooking, but not to the extent of that becoming my full-time opportunity. So the point is, I'm actually starting to gear up to see where I'm going to go from here, which also ties in with the fact is, just be aware, once you hit a milestone, either already have your next thing to look at, or start looking at where you're going next. Now, health-wise, this is another thing for me. It's been a lot more difficult lately because I'm spending a lot more time in London, which has, because I'm in hotels, you end up eating a lot of crap food, which I really don't like doing. But when I'm here, I get these granola bags, which are basically just like berries and bits of cardboard, I think it is. It's not really cardboard, but it tastes just as good. And I just have that with Greek yogurt. So I'm starting to eat more healthy. And the bizarre thing is, even on this living crisis thing that's been pushed, one of those bags could last me a week. With Greek yogurt, that's about £5 for your entire food for the week. Not a broad menu, of course, but at the same time, it brings some of my costs down. That's all right, because one of the things I've got is the rent's gone up again here. Now, when I moved in, it was 375. Then I went to 415. Now it's 485. Massive changes, and it's all tied with the energy bills, which. See, this ties. See, I'm trying to keep it on the positive. This ties in with a lot of people just retire and leave. At the end of the day, it was just plotting along, had my space in Spain, and then was just doing a bit of work here to keep the grey matter going, and the cost just went up the way it did here. I'd literally have just gone, you know what? Let's get to the point where it doesn't pay me to be here. And I could understand why people retire early or just call it a day and just head off. In the same way, there's been a lot of like the NHS doctors and stuff. They encourage them to pump money into their pension funds, and then it gets to a point where it's not worth working anymore. Um, so they retire or do 12 hours a week or something silly because they don't actually need it and probably just want to keep their hand in for a bit of grey matter stuff. But anyway, back on the positive stuff. So I would say, don't let the negative stuff drag you down. What you need to do is refocus and go, right, that's going to happen anyway. You can't control it. Those changes are recurring regardless of what you're doing. What you can control is where you're going, what you're doing, and how you're going to improve things. So, for example, I've got 2 training courses that I'm just in the process of deciding what I'm doing with them. Because I'll probably, the company might pay for one and the other one I'll pay for myself. But those 2 reinforce my working position, which has some other remote opportunities later, because of preparing documents for other companies. You know, it's a boring, tedious thing, but it's an opportunity to generate cash remotely. So that's one of the key things I'm doing at the moment. Looking at other opportunities is the other one. Trying to find the next big thing. What you got to understand is when you see the opportunity, you got to grab it. Now, at the moment, I haven't seen anything I'm grabbing onto. That's why I've started to go, right, because I haven't had time before, because I got absorbed with the getting the house working, the last company and the current company. I'm starting to now go, right, you know what, they could have me for my working hours, but after that, I've got to focus on this stuff because this is my exit. So it's a big restructure on how to use my own time better. And it's not me making excuses that I didn't do this or didn't. The reality is I had a lot going on at the time. This is now in a position where I can do something. So I'm looking for that idea. Now, if we look at the call center stuff, I know we've talked about this before, but the call center stuff started with just doing some spreadsheet and data analysis, and then ended up where it was earning really good money, and we had about, I think it's 45 employees in the space of a few months. Now, don't get me wrong, the market then changed in the US around the subsidies for solar panels and all that sort of stuff, which took the bottom out our business. Now, could I restructure and redone? Of course I could. But the reality is, we also got hit with the earthquakes, got hit with typhoon, and I made the decision, which we already had in the back of our mind, to actually move to Europe. Because we agreed when we first got married to my wife, she'll tell you that once the kids we hadn't even had yet got to a certain age, we would move to Europe for their education. And obviously we did that, got in before Brexit, all that sort of stuff. It was all very, couldn't have planned it better myself. But the fact is, we put us on a long-term path for the kids. Call centre's still there. The profits from the business bought the building. It's a mothballed environment that I can pull back out and start working with. So I'm looking at that at the minute. But the point is, that was one little idea that took, I think I put in about, I don't know, $1,500 or something. But it ended up with a building that's worth over 1 million pesos. It ended up with the renovations, which were over, I can't remember, I don't know. Let's just call it 300,000 plus pesos, 250,000 pesos worth of computers, jobs for 45 people, good standard of living for a long period of time. come from a small idea. I've had a few of those, but I haven't had something that's actually gone bang and just sort of gone, that's it. You're finished. You've made enough money to not even need to do it. Doesn't mean I wouldn't do it. It just means I wouldn't need to do it again, which then puts you in a different mindset. The fact is, you can stick with an idea just because of interest, rather than your end goal is to get to a financial point where you can just become 100% sustainable. So at the moment, I'm just looking for that next idea at the minute. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure something will come up, but you've just got to start looking for it now. Like I says, remote working, the market's changed. I mean, a lot of the companies in the UK are struggling to get people back to work. Reality is most of these people, with the furlough and being stuck at home and during COVID, people started to reanalyze what they're doing. Spending more time with the kids, spending more time outdoors, doing something. Suddenly, work wasn't the only objective out there. It was all this other stuff that goes on. It's the same for me. Steve and a few other people said how I seem more relaxed and more positive in Spain. Two things. Well, sorry, three. Firstly, it's family. I've got my family around me. Second, I've got a nice working environment. And thirdly, vitamin D. It's the sunlight as well. Because during the day, what I'll do is I'll go out on the balcony area now with a new office, and I'll put, you won't see it from the street side, because I know a lot of people come past my house. But what you won't see is I put a sun lounger there, and I just catch like 45 minutes of sunlight for the day. And just having that positivity, that energy, it does make a positive difference. Here, I'm looking out at the grey skies, as usual. I'm sure I could just put a painting and it'll look the same pretty much every day. It's raining, it's grey sky. It's part of why I moved to Spain. Then you've got the other bit where I sit in the office now. I can hear the waves. It's a positive place. So what you need to do, if you're in a space that you don't want to be, and it's not just about, like a little room like this one, but it could be a case of you need to change your environment, change what you're doing, change your attitudes or your abilities, or doing something to get you in the right space. And part of that is like I say, I sit here, go get this guy down from up here, the whiteboard, and start figuring out where I'm going from here. Got my training courses I've sorted out, eating a lot of granola with Greek yogurt to counteract the bad food that I have when I'm in London. I'm now probably going to have a quick shower and probably go at the gym. I haven't been to the gym for a while now because I've been going backwards and forwards to Spain. You've got to step it up, because it's very easy to get into a rut. It's very easy to go, Sunday, it's looking a bit rubbish out there. I ain't going to go to the gym today. I'll watch TV. Very easy to do that. What you need to do is get one of these things, and then you write things down. Got to go to the gym twice a week. Got to do X amount of steps a day. One of the things I did with my steps actually was reduce it to 4,000 a day, and it wasn't for a negative impact. It was actually us looking at a couple of studies that were done on the steps, and for a mortality rate, they say doing 4,000 a day is where you can reduce your mortality. That's where it starts. So the point is, that's where I go, that's my minimum. Rather than setting a target of, say, 10,000 and go, I need to do 10,000 a day as if it's a target, in a got to get to, it's the other way around, saying, this is the minimum you've got to do today. Which, for me, because I spend a lot of time at the desk, makes a lot more sense. And the big days, you go, well, you've given up doing 10,000. No, I haven't. When I'm in London, I can do up to 26 to 28,000 steps in a day. But it's like today, it's raining, it's grey. I've still got to do those minimum of 4,000, and it's doing it constantly, which is the important bit. Doing a 10,000 a day on days like this, it's a bit of a rigmarole. But doing a minimum of 4,000 is much easier. But hitting the bigger targets, I do that anyway. But it's the days when I'm not needing to be as mobile is the ones I need to keep motivated. The 10,000 a day, I'll hit that overall. Because to be fair, I think I hit my weekly target in 2 days. But the doing it every day is the important bit. But I thought today I'll do this video just to sort of say it, because I know I'm finding the media far more negative lately. They seem to be hammering this energy and cost of living crisis, and far more than A, I would like, but B, I need to start disconnecting some of the media. I mean, I bought a new phone, and it pings me with stuff that I'm not interested in, and B, I didn't put on my phone. It's the same as my other phone, my Chinese one, puts news articles there, and I've disabled it, I've removed it, and it keeps putting it back. It just shows you how this stuff is driven, and you've got to counteract some of this stuff by my new phone has this feature where I put hours on there and it goes to quiet time, so I put the phone on vibrate and doesn't ring. It grays the screen and everything, say switch off your phone. You've got to realize a lot of this stuff that may be very negative may not be you. It may be you're getting suckered into a negative environment because we've got so much technology around us that's doing this. Not by itself, it's obviously manipulated, but look for the ways to remove yourself from it. For example, I don't use the phone as much as I used to. And when I'm in Spain, my wife will tell you, after 5 o'clock, I leave my phone in the office. And people will still be ringing me, I'm just not answering it. I've got into more of a positive habit of disconnecting. Because they just assume can phone you, can do this, can do that. And I know I'm just as bad, but I'm starting to do the same. Stop phoning people when I shouldn't be. I know they finish work, so don't bug them. I know with some of the bigger stuff I deal with, I've got some fairly large projects. You need to make sure things are done properly. When somebody says, "Oh, I'll have it to you by 5 o'clock," and they still haven't done it, is it really that urgent? And that's why I've started looking at it. Is it really that urgent? Can it wait till tomorrow? Yeah. All right, then don't worry about it. Message them at 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock, so that you're the first email or whatever they see in the morning going, "You promised me this last night. Can you do it first thing, please?" But yeah, I'm just looking at where do I go from here? House is done. The mortgage bit is still sort of moving along. There's something weird happened where the bank sent me this letter, and I can't find it again now. But I think I need to double check it, because I'm not sure if they're trying to scaremonger me and not paying the mortgage off early, because they lose interest. So I need to have a look at that, because I really don't trust the banks. Because I've paid a large amount off last year, and this year I've actually banked and started a savings account, just just so you're aware, out of a bit of a knowledge piece. So I've opened a separate savings account in the UK, and I've banked 3,000 in there in the last 2 months. So the point is, I was hammer with a mortgage, and now I've started going mortgage, savings, and starting to look more long term. And I've restocked my Spanish account again as well. So now, because we've got the construction stopped in Spain, there's still some smaller renovation stuff, but there's nothing critical anymore. It's all vanity stuff. We could leave it another year if we want to, but we'll see. But I'm starting to evolve now into heading more sustainable for the long term. As you probably see, I'm thinking about it a lot. It's because I'm now got this line where I need to step forward and go, right, this is the path we're on now. We've done this, we've done this, we've done this. That's yesterday. What's today? And like I said, part of that today, bit of fitness, bit of granola and Greek yogurt. It's about moving things forward. And like I said, so much negative stuff, which is why I thought, you know what, got to put something on the table today that's actually worth listening to. And I think a key to it is try and filter that noise out. If you're hearing too much of it, then you're listening to too much of it. You need to go, not interested. Stop it. Whether that's, like I say, you leave your phone in another room, whether it's watch less TV. Because that's the other thing. I was thinking about this last week, is we've lost time. Because, I don't watch live TV because it's terrible. Celebrity nonsense in too many shows, reality shows, absolute dribble. But the thing is, when I look at the childhood, you'd have, I think was it Saturday or Friday? You'd have, like, say, top of the pops, certain, you'd have certain shows on Saturday morning. My grandmother used to have the horse racing on, I think it was Sundays or whatever. But the point being is, your timetable often revolved around the TV. But between those shows, you actually went and did something else. So, for example, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a TV show that was your favourite 8 o'clock TV show. So, as a kid, you'd be out until 8 o'clock. You'd be outdoors. Now, the time frame's gone. And I think this is where some of the problem is, because a bit like watching TV shows, you do them back to back. I think it may be beneficial to actually put more structure in, even for myself, because one of the problems I have is I'm sort of doing 2 weeks in Spain now and 2 weeks in the UK. So I have very limited downtime. I'm always doing something, but I need to start going, right, at this time I've got to go to the gym or do some exercise or study or read a book, or because it's very easy to sort of just exist. At the weekends you go, I've had enough this week, switch the TV on and just lounge until Monday. Very easy to do. Where one of the things I started doing on Saturday, there's a burger van I go to. I'll just get 2 hot dogs there on a Saturday, go and walk around Sports Direct, go and walk around Curry's, come back Saturday morning, and then I might go somewhere else later on in the day. Sunday, need to restructure again. I did start going to another place, Rushton Lakes, but to be fair, I sort of got bored of that, and it's very busy. So, but like today, I might go into Northampton town rather than just sitting here. But that gets back to set your timetables, where instead of thinking I've got nothing else to do today, for me it's sort of like, right, get up, do your YouTube videos, and then go into the town. Nothing to do about buying stuff. No, that's nothing to do with it. It's to do with the 4,000 steps. Get them up, having a look around, being a bit more mobile. I mean, that's the thing I remember as a kid with my parents. We always used to walk into town on a Saturday in Germany. The shops were shut predominantly, but that was the Saturday thing. It was the routine. And it's why it's important, because like I said, we're removing time from life. It's becoming the supermarket, where there's no clock and ambient music. There's nothing linking you to a time, saying you've got to be somewhere in 20 minutes. You've been in here 3 hours. What are you doing? Yeah, food for thought anyway. So like I said, I'm gonna go and get ready, have some of my granola, then head into town. Take it easy, guys.